1801 in Switzerland. The vigorous movements of a painter who came here to the Uttewalder forest to find inspiration can be heard. He is interested in the topographical as well as the botanical elements that this narrow and steep gorge has to offer for his next work. A few spruces here, the oaks growing there, but no matter what nature is about, Caspar David Friedrich can use it, imagine something underneath it, capture his impressions and then put them on the canvas. When he suddenly stands in a particularly impressive place, and the high cliffs and old trees could not be more menacing, he begins to visualize the painting more closely. I call it Uttewalder Forest. Well, I think that the scenario could have been similar to such an experience. When Caspar David Friedrich walked along this swift nature path and wanted to find a suitable motive. But exactly this painting by Friedrich touched me more than any other, because here the true menace of nature is shown. When we look at the painting, the first thing that hits us is a feeling of melancholy and threat. This scene takes place at night. However, the moon still shines brightly and clearly on the Uttewalder forest. In the sky, a heavy and large cloud hovers above the moon, almost covering it. If we let our eyes wander downwards, we see gigantic rock formations, which of course speak of the strength and eternity of nature as supreme power. The rock wall on the right rises particularly high, one might think, into the sky, and thus to the Almighty Father himself. Another fascinating element can be seen in the spruce trees shrouded in darkness, which give the impression of a certain sharpness due to their high peaks. In fact, the needles of the red spruce growing in Germany are also the hardest and most pointed, in contrast to those of a fir or a larch. Exactly in the center of the work, we also see a mountain stream, enchanted by the moonlight, which pulls us with its torrent downwards to finally arrive at the actual bottom of the scene. But what exactly is this torrent? Where does this river come from? Well, that's up to the viewer, because if we follow the river to its source, we end up right back at the immense and stable, sublime rocks that are trying to take over the picture. But now back to the actual ground of the picture, because if you look properly, you can see a man here, next to the river and the individual rocks. It doesn't matter where this man is from, or what he looks like, or what he does. What matters is how he feels. The figure seen from behind is relatively tiny compared to the other elements on the screen. Why shouldn't he be that? The important thing is not the human being, but what the human being looks at, and that is sublimity and terror, as well as the fog that spreads in the night. Normally there would still be room for Christian symbolism or medieval elements in such a painting from Friedrich, but none of that can be seen here. Why? Well, because the sublime itself is the sacred. Here you observe the endless greatness of nocturnal nature, not because it gives you pleasure or is particularly relaxing, but because people should learn to fear God again. Because man should be astonished and afraid of this unknown height. And fear is exactly the right keyword for the particular art movement I would associate with Uttewalder forest, Black Romanticism. This is a subgenre of Romanticism that deals with more negative concepts such as death, cruelty and fright. With the rather dark color palette and the nocturnal mysticism of the moonlight, one can certainly speak of an influence of Black Romanticism. With the attributes of awe, respect, terror, sublime, greatness and the otherworldly, Caspar David Friedrich succeeds in creating a feeling of unimportance and smallness in people's minds with each of his works, which can have a great influence on various aspects of everyday life. Hello everyone, thank you very much for watching. Friedrich is quite simply one of my great role models in art and philosophy, and I am very grateful that I am given the opportunity to talk about his works on this channel. A subscription would be quite cool and useful to see this channel grow. Thanks for watching and see you next Friday.